Welcome back to GBGuns Armory, episode 52. In this series, as a reminder, we're going over stuff that's already been fully reviewed on the main channel, just kind of reviving it and giving you a little more of thoughts and feels, since the main channel reviews are more facts and raw performance. This also gives me a chance to give some follow-up thoughts after owning and shooting these guns for a few months or even a few years, depending on what we're talking about. Today, and it's clear, I'll show that so I don't get safety patrol on me, is the Cosaint Arms COS 11 or COS 11, and you might recognize it as looking kind of like the current trend of 2011 double stack 1911s, except this is a single stack. This is a subcompact, if you will, 8-rounder single stack 9mm. If you don't like the colors or that particular configuration, don't worry. They do several other options, including now double stacks. Cosaint Arms was founded by someone who previously worked with Staccato, before they were Staccato, when they were STI and more into the competition guns. He left with the intent of maintaining that same attention to detail, that same fitment. When STI became Staccato, they changed some things about how the guns are built, mostly so they could ramp up, go higher volume, things like that. Those of you really into guns can imagine how parts change and how procedures change, especially when it comes to a 1911 platform. So he wanted to keep it that way. That meant a non-compete, which meant for a while single stacks were the only option. They do build double stacks now. But to give you an idea of what this guy is like, and everything from slide cuts to colors to trigger weight, serration, texture, all that kind of stuff is completely optional. This is one that was built to my intent. We've got night sights on it. It is railed steel below here. You can see the cuts on the slide. Slight weight shaving / anti-glare flatness up there. Then we've got a polymer lower with kind of skateboard tape grip where it needs to be, a little bit of a bobbing to reduce that worst part of printing when concealing a 1911 platform is when it's a straight cut mainspring housing, that sharp edge, which this has been chopped off, sticks out quite a bit. A large grip safety, we've got a skeletonized hammer. There's some interesting kind of contouring. Camera, play with me here. Here we go. That edge there along the bottom of the slide, just nicely built. And the trigger, of course, back to our wall. Clean break, very short travel. I mean, the reset and break that you would expect from a custom 1911. I thought this thing was pretty cool. Mine originally had some slight issues that came from the rear sight wanted to come loose. I forget if we figured if it was the cut of the slide or the sight, but eventually we got it figured out. But it was a little frustrating because I was really enjoying the gun, and then suddenly I was hitting off. And those of you who haven't been with the channel forever may not know the way I do things is I always give manufacturers the chance to fix things. One, that brings to their attention any issues. 2, that lets me experience customer service so I can report to you guys. And 3, I think that's much more productive than doing a burn video or this gun sucks video kind of thing, because those videos tend to stay up forever, and I don't think that's fair to the company. Things change and they become a false report, and it deters consumers like you and me from getting into something that they might have enjoyed, and it doesn't give channels or companies really a chance to remedy things. So with this one, I believe I sent it back. I forget, it's been a couple years, but after a while we got everything fixed. Everything is great and in order now, and very enjoyable. My only gripes about it were things from the design out of control of the build, and that is, I prefer a 4-inch barrel or longer with 9mm, just to make sure that my defensive rounds get the speed they need. Cosaint Arms at the time wanted to show off this little guy, since single stack 9s were kind of still a thing back then. It was before the micro compacts. And double stack 1911s were still really only used in the competition world. There weren't carry appropriate models out yet, and the non-compete binding Cosaint from even starting into that was still in effect. So I got the single stack. It as a 8 round or 8+1 9 mil, my pinky ends up right on the literal edge, would be bleeding edge depending on the magazine used, because some of the magazines have these little lips on the end of them, and those can be bitey. However, one of the smart things that Cosaint Arms did here is there's a little relief cut. It keeps that all flush. There's no protrusion of that piece, which I also really appreciated. So this was a very nice gun, still one of my favorites, still up there in the 1911 list for me, if you will. The camera is only showing part of this room, and I somewhat sorted the way things are mounted. There is a long line of about a dozen 1911-ish models that we haven't even got to yet in the series. So if you're into those, don't worry, they'll be coming. I'm trying to make sure we don't get too stuck into things. I've got another section that is all Walthers, another section that's all Ground Powers. I've got a section of Canics, trying to mix it up so we don't end up with 2 weeks in a row of the same manufacturer. But when I like something, I like it, and I also appreciate being able to experience the same platform in different sizes, because sometimes the way the large and the compact, or the full size and the compact, if you will, are sized and shaped really impacts the way they shoot. There are guns in this room of which I have the same model and design principles in different scales of size, and had better results with one size over another. And it's not always default. It's not always that banana hands need the biggest gun. So that's an interesting thing. I would love to do a video on that if I had the time. I still have a real job. Tia has a real job. This is all done in the evenings and hobby time. I would love to be able to take pairs like that out, her and I shooting multiple paired guns of larger and smaller size and talking about which one works better for us, because it is really interesting, and it certainly hits home on the fact that we humans are all unique, our hands are all unique. You can't just assume that, I mean, it's kind of like buying pants, I guess, or shoes, right? You know your size, and that's where you start when you're going to try things on. Sometimes you have to go up or down a size depending on the cut, right? Same thing happens with handguns, so be aware of that. Getting back onto the main topic as I ramble a bit, the Cosaint Arms COS 11 or COS 11. They also have double stacks. Check out their website. I will believe I have a review on the depot. I'll pin that comment with the link to that. That can lead you to the website so you can see what all they've got, because it's constantly changing, constantly evolving. I've wanted to keep up and review more of them. It's just a matter of getting our hands on them and having the time to do them. That's the Armory for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.